Yo, welcome back to Genshin Impact. In our last episode, we finally started the interlude chapter about the Wanderer, aka Skirmouche, aka Balladeer, aka Purple Guy, aka Hatman, aka Kunikuzushi or Kunikushi. I can't even remember, he has too many names, but he also has none, because he just deleted himself from existence, basically. Paimon has already forgotten that he even existed, and now we need to talk to the guy from the Kaidehara Kazuha quest. And I don't even know. He has been changing history, but not in the fact that he likes to change history, probably, because Ayaka might be dying.
We made it! The Amenoma Smithy!
I'm being a little bit dramatic right now, but they said that maybe the characters that are from Inazuma may be, you know, experiencing things and changing history, because then their fate will also be changed.
Ah, it's been a while.
Actually, no. Pardon me, I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
Of course. Go ahead.
About the ride in Gokuden, could you tell me... accidentally start speedboxing because I'm stuttering too much. Could you tell me that story one more time?
Oh. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. Very well. I'll tell you what I know once more.
But this time, it better be beautifully animated.
The once renowned ride in Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju.
Doesn't gold actually
The
mean
art of
5?
forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became 5 distinct traditions. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, and for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive. But fortunately, Kaidehara Kazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain of the original Gokuden 5. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Yeah, that was last week.
Oh yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now!
Well, so Paimon does remember
We
something
learned a
at
bit
least.
about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then too! It seems like such a shame.
What was the reason behind their decline?
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. Only recently, when the question was on my mind, did I ask Kaidehara Kazuha about this. He told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, it was right that I should know the truth. There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokuden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
And who?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster. Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaidehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out. The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphaned son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the world. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, The only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this grudge, living in utter misery. Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He could bear their fate no longer, and yet he could do nothing to change it. Finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent-up anger and shake the very foundations of Inazuma's forging industry. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokuden. But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
The legend of the Raiden Gokuden has changed. Someone else attacked the swordsmiths. Oh yeah, it looks like the Bellager did something in Irminsul, but it seems Neva still died. Oh man, so he already changed history, I see.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Have you seen Kazuha recently?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well.
So he still exists. Oh man, he's the same Kazuha I know. Things don't seem as bad as I feared last night. That's all, thank you very much. What do you mean, things don't seem as bad as I feared last night? We haven't checked on Ayaka yet. What do you mean? This could literally be the worst thing ever.
My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right? Your expression says it all. You can't hide anything from Paimon. On to the next stop. Lead the way, traveler. Paimon will be right behind you.
Yeah, and we better talk to Ayaka directly and not some other lazy NPC. I'm sorry, dude. You're pretty kind, but you're not Ayaka. I need to talk to Ayaka. Oh my god, we're heading straight to the Kamisato estate. That's how I like things to be. Straightforward to Miss Ayaka Kamisato. Alrighty. Okay. Maybe not talking to Ayaka then.
This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler! It's been a while.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not here right now.
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get back.
What do you think? Shall we go in?
We'll take you up on the offer. Yeah, if we can see Ayaka, then yes. Can we take a walk in the courtyard, please?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I think it should be okay.
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
I will be heading in, though. Oh, hello.
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say?
Man, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you.
No, I'm sure she has only been speaking good of me.
No.
How are the commissioners and Miss Kamisato these days?
Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the commissioner's behalf.
I don't like when they have like old people in the game being voiced by clearly young voiced people and then they just make them talk in cursive. What's the reason and idea behind all that? Why doesn't everyone sound as legitimate as Madam Ping?
As for the commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
Yeah, good mood these days. She sounds like a sheep, please.
So pretty much business as usual on the Yashiro Commission, huh?
Very much so.
Meh. Sorry. Ayato is still Yashiro Commissioner. Ayaka is still Lady of the House, and no changes there. As far as I can see, nothing's changed in the Yashiro Commission either. I was expecting as much, but it's still a big relief to know that the Kamisato siblings are both safe and well. Is there anyone else we need to be... Raiden? Do we need to check on A?
Well, got any more questions?
That's all for now. Many thanks.
You're very welcome.
Please just shut
In
talking.
fact, I would love nothing more than for you to come and visit more often. But I'm sure you must be far too busy to have time for that.
That voice will be haunting me at nighttime because she talks exactly the way that Tiny Tim sings. Living in the
Miss
sunlight.
Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend.
Boyfriend, if I may
And she's
insist.
always saying how talented you are and how much she admires you. I must say, many things in Inazuma seem to have taken a turn for the better since you arrived here. So you're not just Miss Kamisato's knight in shining armor, you know. You're a hero to us all.
Can you please stop talking? Please!
I mean it.
Please, I mean it too.
Whenever the commissioner dines at home,
I'm
Toma
gonna be
always
taking off my
joins
headset. I
him.
can't do this, I'm sorry.
I always find myself at my most relaxed when I'm serving the two of them and listening to them chat away.
I can still hear it even though my headset is literally in my hands right now.
The commissioner
Oh,
has such
God,
a
it keeps
busy
going.
schedule that he doesn't always have the chance to take his meals at home. But given the opportunity, he always prefers to dine here. They say it's because Toma's a much better chef than most. They get to talking about you sometimes too, you know. Always with a very fond tone. The way one would talk about dear old friends around whom one can truly be themselves. Miss Kamisato occasionally joins them as well. Whenever the whole family gets together and they start talking about people they've met and experiences they've had, you always get a mention.
This seriously sounds so scary. The way she talks so slow, if you just listen to it, it's so scary. And the voice kind of reminds me of Alice. Maybe it's the same voice actress, just talking. I don't know how to describe it. I would skip the whole dialogue if it wasn't about me. I want to hear my praise, but I don't want to hear her voice, you know what I mean?
It's been many years
What?
now since the late
Oh.
Mr. and Mrs. Kamisato passed away. Much has happened in the Kamisato clan in that time.
Okay, she's been talking about their parents. I got really scared for a second here.
As someone who is old and gray enough to have watched their son and daughter grow up,
It makes me so happy to see them
makes
meet a
me
dependable
so
friend whose company they
happy
enjoy
to
so
see-
much.
So, in the future, if you ever do have the time,
Thank you very
these
much.
Paimon
Wonderful.
likes it here too. Also, you were saying something about the food here being really
Don't make her
great.
open her mouth again, please, Paimon. I will eat you upon the cliff. I'm not even kidding. This.
Paimon's itching to try it. We may just have to invite ourselves around for dinner sometime.
No.
Of course.
Alright, goodbye for now.
We're going to Tatarasuna, so I
Wait,
know
goodbye,
where that
man.
is.
Don't worry, we'll see ourselves out.
Now.
All right then.
Bye. Now, where even is Tatarasuna?
Oh, are you two leaving already?
If I can, then I would like to, yes.
Yep, everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Okay.
Very well. Safe travels. Goodbye.
Goodbye as well. Off to Tatarasuna. Oh boy. Oh boy. This was headache-inducing. Okay, now, is it the place where the whole Mikage furnace was, the electro thing, or... It is! Yo, I've been remembering correctly. Interesting. Very interesting. I may not be as stupid as I thought I was. Maybe. God, her voice is still ringing inside my head. Well, let's forget about this. We've got more important matters to attend to. I think, I don't know who we're talking to. The guy from the quest. Talk to Xavier, yes. Hello there.
Well, here we are. But what are we looking for? Something or someone?
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the Traveler and Paimon?
Xavier, what are you doing here?
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me. So what about you two?
We had some questions and thought you might be able to help.
How much do you know about Tatarasuna?
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away.
How well do you understand the history of this area?
Like the back of my hand. Make no mistake, I have been here a good many times before. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago.
Go on.
They said it's all true, the history here.
I'm listening.
Oh, well, it's a long story, don't you know? The tale of Tatarasuna starts a long time ago. I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation, goes back around 1,000 years. Still, the furnace has had a couple of serious maintenance issues along the way.
A couple? When exactly?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either. There was a guy back then too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a long way. How about that?
Wait, I need to pause the play. Mechanic, huh? Looks like the Doctor still sabotaged the furnace, leading to all the ensuing chaos. Yeah, so we can't change the big core events of things that happened back then. They still keep happening.
Weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatarasuna? Come on, ask already.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize you two were here for a history lesson.
Maybe I am, so what, huh?
Me neither. Paimon doesn't know what's gotten into this one today. Feels like we've been preparing for a history exam or something.
Maybe we
What
are.
brought this on? Did you just wake up today with a sudden burning desire for historical knowledge?
Pretty much. Can I ask one more question, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a kabuki mono connected to Tatarasuna?
A kabuki mono? No, I can't say that I have.
Interesting.
I do know the word, Inazuman, for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like to meet, actually.
It's so weird though, because if he managed to erase himself from history, like, he still exists, obviously, because I pulled him, but also, we know that he's animal now. So does that mean he was just, like, born differently, and he wasn't even a puppet coming from the Raiden Shogun, and Wendy gave him his vision somehow, but he also can't remember any of his traumatic past or anything like that? That's just insane, actually, how we just, like, changed the whole part of the story.
But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a kabuki mono where Tatarasuna is concerned.
Like, where do we actually plan to find him? Like, where would he go? Where would he be? I'm actually thinking about Mondstadt, probably, now that he's a free soul, I think. You know, like, technically we wouldn't even know if he still exists, but because there's a banner and we know he has a new vision now, it's already been, like, confirmed that he's out here somewhere. Can't be walking around playing a dead person who doesn't even exist canonically, I mean. So there's no more kabuki mono. Did the Bellier really manage to erase himself from history completely? He just changed his fate and his past, I guess. And his origin. If so, he must have wanted to change the world and revert everything back to the way it was. But so far, it looks like the majority of changes have only affected himself. Yeah, butterfly effect didn't really work on that one, huh? But thank you.
Of course! Don't mention it.
Oh, we're leaving? Okay, bye, Xavier.
So that's how I
Oh,
pronounce
you're
it.
most welcome. More than happy to help. Farewell.
Farewell. Is there any other person we need to talk to around
Looks like
here?
you got all the information you're looking for.
Time to go back and see Lord Kusanagi. Okay.
Sure, but what's up with you today? Whatever it is, it seems like it's really troubling you.
She probably can't remember him as well. Talking about Nahida right now.
Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. No matter what happens, Paimon will always be there for you.
Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. Who are we? Ye to the what to the how? Thank you, Paimon.
Hey, don't mention it. Alright, let's head off and go meet Nahida.
Alrighty. Let's head off and do that. That was a very quick and short trip to Inazuma. Alright, you know what won't be quick and short? The trip of me trying to find the entrance to the sanctuary of the Surastana. Because I'm always like walking around the building and I'm like, where's the door? Let me in, please. I'm trying to get it to the library, but I've lost my ID card. I don't know. It is very early in the morning. I don't know what I'm even trying to justify here. Anyways, any sleighs? Let me in any day. Wow. At least they have a shining line on the floor now. This will make it easier to find the entrance.
Hey, it's them!
Oh, hi there. You guys remember me?
Akaba,
Okay.
Sawada, you're still here?
Paimon remembers as well. Righty. You're still talking about the essay. The essay probably didn't exist in this timeline, right? Because the story got changed to the Kabukimono isn't there, so they won't be knowing what I'm talking about.
Indeed we are.
Oh.
If you have a moment, we'd love for you to join us once more.
I have to read 20 minutes of text again, just because they changed history. Oh my god.
We have time. What do you want to talk to us about?
It's the same topic we discussed last time. Obviously.
Still looking for more info about Tatarasuna, huh? Should we join them?
Perfect, these two have researched Tatarasuna's past. Let's hear what they have to say.
Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress.
The article that you let me read last time was great. Can I read it again? Yeah.
Huh? Oh, of course.
Let's see the change. Oh my goodness. This is a lot of text. This text belongs to series of works sponsored by the Wahoo Manus Fail Color Project. It has yet to be numbered. All for Akaba. Abstract. The Tatarasuna area has always been a major pillar of Inazuma's smithing industry. 2 incidents have occurred here, and the details behind the first are vague at best. I believe, however, that there might be a hidden history behind the events that transpired. Hence, this paper will attempt to analyze what may have unfolded from the available data. Glossary, Tatarasuna area, Raiden Gokuden, Mikoshi Nagamasa. Introduction. This paper continues and expands the work of my mentor, Mr. Rumi, in his report on the happily hidden tales of Tatarasuna, and is intended to further this avenue of research. According to the data, the blade forging techniques of Inazuma were originally handed down from the Electro Archon, also known as the Raiden Shogun. Using the arts they inherited from their Archon, the people of Inazuma devoted themselves to the process of forging. However, strange rumors that do not quite fit the steely nature of metalwork yet linger about Tatarasuna's smelting center, which was a central pillar of the forging industry. There, the Mikoshi and Niwa clans, along with an eccentric mechanic from Broad, serve as the 3 windows of insight. We need to investigate the truth behind what happened. Body. Strange notes from the Tatarasuna area. Their contents are as follows. Perhaps I overstep, but I think that Sir Nagamasa's mood grows better when he forges blades. The obsession to cleanse the stain of the name Mikoshi must eat at him, too. The inspector bought a certain number of jade steel ingots. Sir Katsuragi discussed matters of smithing deep into the night with the vice armory officer. 3. We at last made a single Nagamaki. We call it the Daitara Nagamasa. The inspector was in high spirits, and he and the vice armory officer Nozumu was so taken by the beauty of the Daitara Nagamasa that he drew a picture of it. 4. The inspector flew into a rage and slashed Katsuragi. The great blade cut deep into the flesh, cast his own Nagamaki into the furnace's flame. Nozumu would not abide by that order, and drew the completely melted weapon out of the furnace. He was horribly burned. 5. Nozumu died that night. I dare say that while Sir Katsuragi may have committed malfeasance, still don't know what that word means, it was out of the goodness of his heart. 6. Kinjiro hid the Nagamaki and Nozomu's drawing in the arsenal. Nagamasa is harsh, but also knows right from wrong. But even so, he's not amenable to reason. His name indicates one obsessed with purity. Still, I and some households of Tatarasuna have not been blinded by the matter of Nagamasa's mother Chiyo, and we trust him. I also remain unwilling to forget the joy of creating the Daitatara Nagamasa with him. 7. Before we withdrew, we should have divided the arsenal key into 3 parts. One for the inspector, one for the armor officer. That's the same as before. 7 nodes mentioned prior have been scattered across the Tatarasuna area. Among the 7 nodes, 6 seem to be of good physical integrity, though they all look quite old, while the last one looks more recent. I believe that the first 6 nodes and the last are of different time periods, so the gulf in years between them needs to be verified. Same thing as before. Though the place has fallen into some degree of disrepair since the tales were written, things have improved since the time when I wrote my original article. Regardless, what used to be an area of major industry remains a place most inhospitable, and residents of Tatarasuna may be found living and dwelling by the waters. The residents, when questioned, told the researchers of Tatarasuna's golden age centuries ago, when it was administered by Armory Officer Neva, Vice Armory Officer Miyazaki, and Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa. Yet the elders among the locals, with deeper ties to the region, also seemed to stress the fact that there were strange rumors surrounding the homeland's past. Now off to the new part. A great many of these rumors revolved around the yokai, who are so very characteristic of Inazuma's folk histories. A very small portion, however, mentioned the word outsider. It should be known that the appearance of such a character, who is suspected to be based on a real person, is a very curious case. This fact drew the attention of the researcher to delve further, and eventually the following pieces of information came to light. A foreign mechanic once visited Tatarasuna. Reportedly, the reason for his immigration was to exchange knowledge and forge ties with the locals. However, the mechanic seemed to have suspiciously often wandering around essential or restricted areas, and if someone tried to turn him away, they would only earn incomprehensible murmurs from his lips. The mechanic often stared into the furnace, seemingly to check on its condition. Unsettlingly, he also spent a substantial amount of time watching the local residents. Are we talking about Scaramouche or a doctor right now? I don't know. Judging from the era, it was not uncommon to see cross-cultural exchanges of technical knowledge in places such as Tatarasuna. After traveling across the tides, foreign experts being welcome in the region was likely not unreasonable either. Yet, calamity came not long after this exchange of knowledge, which hints at high potential for causation between these events. However, some current residents believe that these assumptions were merely the results of their forebears' overactive imaginations attempting to theorize how things actually unfolded. A list of individuals related to Tatarasuna has been compiled. Full name, Niba Hisahide. He was the inheritor of the Ishin art and successor to the Niba clan. His family, along with the Akame and Karehara clans, were together known as the Ishin Sansaku. Records show that Niba was a modest and intelligent individual who displayed remarkable talent in the administration of territory and people. His eventual whereabouts are unknown, but he was suspected to have left Tatarasuna with his family following the incident. I don't care about the other people. And also, the Kabukimono isn't anywhere. The mechanic, there he is. Long have I delved through many texts and documents, but I was ultimately unable to decipher even a spectre of a clue as to his background. Still mentions of the mechanic grew scarcer in the aftermath of the Tatarasuna incident. I speculate that instead of the mechanic possibly being a figure woven from overripe imaginations, he actually did exist, and perhaps even had a hand in the event that took place in Tatarasuna.
I presume you'll want to read mine as well? Here.
Only the yellow text lines. Are there even any? Alright, here. Miyazaki hit his ground. Upon hearing this, wait, okay. I see your ears are as keen as your hands, Sir Neva. The jokes of us unlearned men are nothing before you. The forging of your Lord's great blade cuts here. Okay, so they were forging a sword. Miyazaki hit his grin. Upon hearing this, Neva released the lizard from his hands into Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby, the footsteps steady and confident. The head that appeared by the door was that of one from abroad. The newcomer placed some lunchboxes to one side, nodded, and made to leave. Katsuragi called out after him. "So, what about your meal? Are you not hungry?" The man smiled upon hearing Katsuragi's words. "I already ate. I hope that you, my lords, may also find time to sate your hunger soon. You are a guest, sir. To see you help in these trifling matters fills me with embarrassment," Neva said with sincerity. The man smiled as if it was no matter. Then with a nod he departed. So Scaramouche was here and he remembered those people and he tried to save them, but they still got hit by the same fate. Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat and was joined in its berefness of direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant steps away, the mechanic laughed, slowly approaching the grand wreck. Now but half an arm was left of the one who had cried out for help, and with a plop it landed at the mechanic's feet. So it was Dottery, not Scaramouche, right? I don't know. Who crouched to better steady the object, straining against the urge to take a bite? That's weird. Yet he did not, for a dark cloud swirling down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. Then a second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth. Each who left to seek salvation did so under false skies and bleak fortunes. Reason dictated that they should not have risked anyone else, but the situation in Tatarasu was severe. They needed to gain aid from Inazuma, even should it cost them more lives. Okay. The concept has changed. Another effect of tampering with the information Ermin saw. The Beladier said he'd erase 2 of his names. If he really succeeded, it must have taken all of his might, but still.
Well, what do you think?
Masterpiece!
Hey, Traveler. Remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, we just got back from Inazuma. So how about we tell them what we learned?
Yeah, sure.
What did you find out? Something big?
Not at all.
It's a long story. Basically, we have some friends in Inazuma, and...
You tell the 2 writers what you learned about the Writing Goku and Tatarasu's history.
So many new details. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well, well. So it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the Amanoma clan, you say? Then I guess it must be true. Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
Sorry to disappoint you with reality
This
check.
new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society those days, to the extent that harming them was conceived of, at least by the perpetrator, as a way of exacting revenge against those in power.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with my novel.
And they're back at it. These guys are really into this.
I've got some things to take care of. Bye for now.
Oh, so sorry. Look at us, prattling on about our projects and ignoring you. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome. See ya.
Keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do.
Okay, but we haven't found the head guy yet, and also Nahida. So, time to talk to the people that actually matter. I'm sorry, NPC guy number 1 and NPC guy number 2, and potentially NPC guy number 3 that we will be talking to in the future in like 10 minutes or so from now. But you guys are not playable characters. Literally, that's what NPC stands for, so... Gotta remember your roots. Know your place. The music in here are always so mysterious.
Nahida, we're here! Traveler, Paimon, how have you been? Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then he decided he wanted to go to Inazuma.
I was investigating the situation with the Beladier. Now the question is, does Nahida remember the name?
The Balladeer? It sounds like some kind of code name.
But then again, why can I remember? Oh no. Why can I remember
You
him?
look troubled. Is there something you need to tell me?
And also, how did he manage to get into my head when we talked last episode in front of Paimon? Even Nahida doesn't remember. Just like last time, any changes to Ermin's will affect her as well. The Beladier acted quickly. He finished erasing himself before Nahida could stop him. I'm the only one who still remembers the things that were erased. Once again, I'm the record keeper. That is so strange.
Traveler?
Who am I? What am I?
Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset.
Is it because I'm not from this world that I can remember the things because my memory system isn't like intertwined with the memory system of the people from Tevat, so my knowledge can't be altered? Well, even the Archon forgets about it. There are things that have happened that only I can remember. I have to tell you the truth. With a heavy heart, you piece back together the story that was broken and scattered across time. There once was one named the Beladier, created by the Electro Archon. He was a puppet who lived among men. After a series of events in Tatarasu, the Beladier, thinking he had been thrice betrayed, left Inazuma to roam the world beyond. With no trust for humans and only a loathing for the gods, he bore his grudge for years as he grew in strength, then returned to Inazuma to take his revenge. He tried in vain to become a deity with a gnosis and ended up losing everything. Finally, he entered Erminster and learned the truth behind his betrayal. Knowing now that his entire life was built on his lies, he did the unthinkable in an attempt to reverse his tragic fate.
That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irminsul, hoping that he could change the past.
He already did so.
But how was he even able to do that? As the traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside the machine after we defeated it.
So the machine and the plan still existed, but how? It doesn't make sense.
Nevertheless, it does make sense.
No, it does not. I just said.
If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Irminsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality. So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because, well, because he literally changed the world?
What if something similar like this has happened before? What if, like, me or Lumine or anyone else has done something like this? Just unlocks a whole new, like, bunch of possibilities. Also, like, he tried to change the history because he thought the events would, like, technically change completely, but they only changed as in they still happened exactly as they were bound to happen, just minus him as a person being there. So it technically didn't really do any change, only his trauma and like he didn't get betrayed and he wasn't used. But the other people still did all these evil actions without him.
Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this.
He just doesn't feel guilty now.
But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it.
Someone who has been gone through much worse.
The traveler comes from a world beyond Tevat. That's why there's no information about him in Irminsul, and it also explains why any changes to Irminsul wouldn't affect him. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it.
You can say it again. Oh my god, imagine... Okay, wait, but that's actually interesting, because that would just... Unless Paimon would know that, you know, unless Paimon has been doing a fake play, then she also has to be from Tevat. If her memories really were erased. Or she's just acting like that so we don't raise any suspicion. But also imagine, like, during the end chapter of Genshin Impact, everyone is just forgetting about meeting us. That would be horrible. You can say that again, whatever you said, I already forgot, sorry.
Paimon's having a hard time understanding this Balladeer guy's motivations. Why did he do it? I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was, only you remember that.
I'm really not sure. We were enemies after all. I don't know his perspective on all this, so I can't say why he did something so extreme. I mean, guilt, trauma. Did he want to reset everything or save someone, or did he want to completely undo his existence? Both of those. He felt bad for being manipulated and like causing so many people such great loss. Everything can be said right. It's time to solve this once and for all. Maybe that's all there is to it. I still remember the question he asked. He asked me specifically. My hesitation gave him his answer. I hesitated because I witnessed Great Lord Rukkhadevata erase her own existence, but I can't tell Nahida that. To put it another way, I know why the Balladeer was so sure it could work, but I can't tell him that.
Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share?
He chose such a radical option and yet...
It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right?
Yeah, it's like he did it for nothing.
Once
Just to
the
free himself of the
realized
guilt.
he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. Now he saw them as friends again. He couldn't keep hating humans after that. And if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. The story makes sense. Every part of it. The Balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Irminsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left.
If I would be Nahida, I would be way more worried about the information that something so great just happened on my watch and I still can't remember it or couldn't have done anything against it. Like, yet alone that other people with such power even exist.
Yeah.
I would be terrified.
It does make sense, but it's still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return.
Yeah, he changed the world in many ways, and yet the dead still didn't get a second chance. Those fated to a tragic end could not be saved. What exactly did he want to fight back against? The betrayal in his life, or did he wish he'd never existed at all? We basically just had that same question 2 minutes ago.
Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one.
That was quick. Nice cube.
It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything he has told us. What is it? A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look.
Surprisingly, the information is presented to you in a way that resembles a fairy tale. Oh!
Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it?
Ah, okay. This matches everything I said.
I authored this record myself. Huh? You wrote a fairy tale? That somehow has something to do with the balladeer?
So that would technically mean that hypothetically, every novel that exists in Tibet could have been from an altered reality.
When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else. Hold on. So this record survived from the past? Yes. Any information about the balladeer or the kabuki-mono and other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Irminsul changes to that. But Irminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the balladeer entered Irminsul. That's incredible! What a great idea! And sending the traveler into Irminsul with the balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew he'd remember everything. This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Irminsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one he told us. The now erased life of the balladeer.
Oh.
There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends. The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice.
Look at
A
Neva.
gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this."
Is it Kazuha or is it Neva? I don't know, I just see the red highlight, but I think Kazuha was the one wearing band-aids.
The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered
Okay, it's
it.
Neva.
The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure.
And the monster is Dotori. And Scaramouche is the cat.
The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived, It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain for good. Never again would it cherish a single creature, nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content.
He looks so
I will
cute as a
become the
cat.
new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different.
Interesting story.
Solved it!
Yeah.
I remember now. This is not just the Balladeer story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered.
It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke.
The Balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail. That Conria was where your twin first came into this world.
Yeah.
We still don't know how the change to Irminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own Harbinger.
Never had this feeling before. It feels like life is insignificant as a feather, yeah.
It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better.
This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot. Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along.
Yeah, Nahita's right. Cheer up! How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later.
Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take him out for a walk to clear his head?
You got it! Come on, Traveler! You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel much better after taking a walk. Let's go get a snack from one of the stalls in the Grand Bazaar! That'll be sure to lift our spirits. It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that. But Paimon's always here to help cheer you up.
Seeing him as that sad little cat, oh my god, it was
There's
emotional.
a few things I'd like to look into. You should go take a walk and try to unwind.
Okay. Take a walk around the Grand Bazaar to clear your head. Alright. This did a lot of damage. to everyone involved, but mostly the Traveler, because he's the one having the memories. But it's so insane that Nahida actually has a story record of this without her even knowing. That's crazy. I hope that the new dialogue will only get triggered when I walk around the Grand Bazaar, because the Grand Bazaar is a little bit more far away, and then that would mean I could technically end the episode here. Also, I hope you didn't hear any weird background noises. For some reason, someone here has decided to start mowing the lawn exactly while I'm recording. But I'm trying to edit that out. Anyways, guys, I would end the video right here as we speak. So, see you in the next episode of Genshin Impact. And until then, Shazam. Bye-bye.
Will be departing soon.